Urban Media Today is your source for entertainment, news, sports, and lifestyle. It's your online resource for health and fitness, providing tips to decrease your heart disease or increase your good spirits. When you can't find who made the top picks in HBCU sports or what part of the country is most exciting or affordable to travel with the entire family, Urban Media Today is there to provide you with all that you need and just a click away. Log on to urbanmediatoday.com now. Find us on social media. Urban Media Today, your lifestyle information and blog website.
Welcome to the Give It Up podcast on urbanmediatoday.com, where we give it up for excellence, greatness, and leadership, and where we continue to use sports as well as just community organizing as a metaphor for life. I want to thank my cousins who are back. We're doing episode 2 of the aftermath of the election 2020, Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Again, as it is right now, as we're looking for a victory for somebody in the next hours or days. Joe Biden has approximately 253 electoral votes, and Donald Trump has 213 as we record this on Wednesday. And we're hoping that things turn out great for America going forward. So we ended the last episode, and we were just mentioned that we were talking about Black Trump supporters. And one thing that my cousin Malcolm brought up was the fact that there are a lot of Black people who are anti-Kamala Harris, who, if I were to tell you who my candidate was for the entire time of 2020 in the primaries, I was voting for Kamala Harris. She's the only person that I chose to follow on Instagram, and I don't really follow anybody, because I heard what she was saying. She seemed to be the most intelligent of all the people running for president. She had the best background to balance with a prosecutor, so that whole justice side of things, and at the same time, a compassionate senator who's been fighting for Black people for her entire senatorial position. And I felt like she was the best candidate in the group. So for Black people, to me, to be anti-Kamala Harris, it just shows me that they didn't do their homework, and it's a form of self-hate. To be honest, I call women that have voted for Donald Trump, that's a form of self-hate to me. Black females that were anti-Kamala Harris, that's a form of self-hate. That's you not being able to recognize greatness and choosing to go opposite of your own best interest. I just can't relate to that. But Malcolm, finish what you were saying, because
I think
crazy to me.
What happens is there's a whole movement, and there's a whole mindset. I'll give you an example of the mindset. When Barack Obama was running, when Barack Obama became president, and particularly got reelected in his second term, two of his most vocal critics were Tavis Smiley and Cornel West.
Yes.
Right? Now, I haven't heard a peep from Tavis Smiley about Donald Trump. Have you heard anything from Tavis?
Nope.
Maybe he has come out vociferously against him. I haven't heard it. I mean, it seemed like he was on a campaign.
He was on a campaign
about how Barack Obama wasn't real, wasn't this, wasn't that, wasn't the other. And I think what happens with us sometimes, I think, first of all, I think some of that's envy, but I also think that it's so easy for us to find fault with each other.
Was a hater too.
Yeah, Jesse's a hater, because he felt like he never was able to get to that seat. And so he's looking for a reason to say that Obama can't possibly have been qualified because he didn't win. But I think the deeper thing is, it's so easy for us as a group sometimes to find fault with each other. I can't tell you how many people, they knew every nook cranny about Kamala Harris. It's almost like when Mike Brown gets killed or when George Floyd is murdered, people will go into the archives of their life, right, and find every traffic ticket, every time they got citation, every time they put up a picture with weed. It doesn't matter what it is. We're always looking for a reason not to support somebody Black, And I'm not saying all of us think that way. Obviously, that's not the case. but there's a large number of people who just can't accept, to me, a Black woman who's running and who has a legitimate chance, in my opinion, to be the first female president of the United States. I truly believe that she has as much of a chance to do that as anyone who's ever run. And some people just can't, they can't take, you know, it'd be like if Larry came out right now around people he knows and said, hey, listen, I'm opening the first Black school on the South Side, high school. There will be people who will come out. I'm not saying, you know what I mean, who they are, but just the mindset about why it's not going to work.
Yeah, he can't do that. That's not going to work.
I mean, it literally happened when I purchased the elementary school here.
It's already happened.
And I even heard people on Facebook like, yeah, we got the school. I'm like, I got the keys. What are you talking about? So it's just, yeah, just to agree. Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a problem with that. And I think that that problem allows us to always focus on the potential negative thing in the character or in the expertise of one another. You know, it's like a certain narrative that's been spun for so long that we just find it's like going into a Black business and expecting the service to be bad. We have that same mindset.
Yes.
We have that same mindset. Not all of us, not necessarily most of us, but too many of us with regard to one another. And I saw that with her. People were relentless with Kamala Harris posts. These are, I'm talking about all Black people on my timeline, just every day, all day, for at least 4 weeks, nonstop.
I think that this is an interlude to what you were saying too, Margo, as far as self-hate. I mean, these things have been going on. I mean, we can't be surprised by Black people would vote for Trump. We had Black people telling the slaves was running, right? So, and we stayed here and be like, what do you think? This is great here. I'm not leaving Massa. So these things have been going on, and it shows you a reflection of the country, how it hurts us the ultimate way, right? Because it's the self-hatred and the mental enslavement. Still not wanting to progress, still not understanding as far as, and again, I'm gonna say it again, either side it wins, right? Either side it wins. These things are still, they're still in people, still want to have those belief systems, they still voted for this person and things of that sort. So these are wake-up calls, you know, to really understand what's going around you. I said it in our prior episode as far as spiritual warfare, you know, how people will gravitate to whatever just because of a negative train. They just want to jump on that train. It's moving fast. I just want to be down with the crew. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff is just out of ignorance. And as Malcolm said, a person with a drop of information or intelligence is dangerous, you know, because the spew will come. And then people understand how that device as Facebook works. Once you make these comments, your timelines will be flooded, and this is a fact, he was in court about it, about every negative comment, cognition about that person to brainwash you into thinking even more negative about that situation. These are facts. There's a thing that's called hackers. I suggest anyone's listening, and for the 3 of my cousins who are with me now, to watch that and see how the propaganda trace, these are facts, how they did this and how he won the election last time in Trump. They took people's fears and whatever they thought, and they pumped it on Facebook over and 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 over. That's what cookies are. Cookies are when you look at a Louis bag's going to be on everything you look at. It continues to remind you about those thought process. They said they have the characteristics, 5,000 characteristics of almost every American in America. Just from, I like this, I don't like this. Malcolm just said, Kamala Harris this, Kamala Harris that. So they know all your characteristics, how you think. And these things are pumped to you, telling you as visions, right? Television, programming, right? These are not coincidences. And we need to pay attention to that. Like I said, the Margo prior to what we're watching, if you watch Fox, their propaganda was this. Joe Biden has 263 votes to Trump's. That's the fear. Over here, it's saying 253 votes, and if he doesn't do this, he's going to lose. One is conceded, the other one is also a bare fear, right? Because the main dynamic of this country we live in is capitalism. Without chaos, capitalism does not work, right? While we're arguing and debating about colors and origins and who loves who, the money stays up here, right? The wealth, what really controls and dictates society, let's be honest. With no money, you can drink out of the river and eat out of a garbage can. That's it, right? So we have to understand these things. We're debating about Kamala Harris, who's a sister, and like Margo said, if you read about it, not looked at a little paragraph on Facebook and did your research, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It's someone who looks like you. How could you automatically go the other way? The complete opposite thought process of anything that determines who you are. It's like the statement of a Black life matters, where you have people of different origin, color, race, and the same origin, color as you that have a problem with your life mattering. These are issues that this man, who's supposed is a president, who's a fool, who's even said that that's racist. And you want to take your Black behind and go vote for him?
Right.
There's something wrong with you. Like, it's not even, that's what I'm saying, it's moral stuff. And if any color, race, or creed, I can give you an example, the reason why you'd be a total fool and the most asinine person, because it's a statement for everything but white men that is personally attacked you on another level that's inhumane. That's what we're talking about. Like I said in the last episode, we're talking about humanity over decisions of idiocracies and finances.
I hear you, Larry. And the crazy part, just a follow up on that, is he literally signed, what are those called? What are those orders called? You guys help me.
Executive order.
Thank you. An executive order to outlaw diversity training. Think about this. The only way that we can come together and change mindsets and become a well-rounded community is through diversity education. He literally signed an executive order outlawing diversity training, saying it caused racism.
But again, Morgan, who is he? The ultimate what? Capitalist, right? Wow. Chaos.
There it is. There it is. Okay, so let's move on a little bit, you guys, and let's talk about the outcome of this election. I want to know your feelings about the outcome of this election. And you can talk about it in terms of who's going to win, who's going to lose, and then what's going to be the aftermath of all that. Kalila, you want to start this one?
Well, I think Joe Biden's going to win, and I don't know what's going to happen. I hope that people just let it be what it is and we move on. But I don't know. I've been seeing different things by people talking about what y'all wearing in World War III and the Civil War and, jokes and stuff about it online. And people are like, yeah, go get your supplies and make sure you have this. So I just remember from now on, I never, panic, because I remember when it was going to be the new millennium.
New millennium,
1999. And they were like, oh yeah, the world is ending. Everything's going
to shut down. You better get I remember mother had me get bottled water.
I had a 2-week-old
cases of water.
I had just had a baby. He was 2 weeks old. And I was like, is this really life that I will only get to spend 2 weeks with my baby? Like, and I just,
oh wow,
I just believe throughout the history of life, they always say this is going to be the end of the world, or this is going to be, and I try not to feed into that. I don't want to be in denial. I don't want to be gullible, but I mean, I went and got food, but other than that, I don't know.
Tomorrow, y'all.
Yeah. So
brother, men.
Nothing happens. I hope they just let it go. We'll see. But I think he's going to win. Biden.
You, Malcolm.
I've always maintained that Trump was going to lose, but I don't think that it's going to yield a unified country because there's so many people who have been emboldened by his campaign and his presidency over the past 4 years. And I think also it revealed the latent racism and white supremacy and ignorance and backwardness of a large segment of the population that was just being suppressed. And that there hasn't been, enough education and other things to help people to overcome that. But I do think that, like Kalila said, I think there's a certain power in focusing on the solution. There's a certain power in not getting caught up in the problem and not getting overwhelmed by all the negative things that could happen. I mean, you can go crazy doing that. Any one of us, and we've all experienced it when you think of all the things that could go wrong. You know, most of the time that doesn't happen. And I think that what we have to look at is that what are we prepared to do? You know, it just so happens that we're family and that we have pre-existing relationships. We have relationships that are before, during, and will survive whoever comes or goes. And I think we should be looking at how do we connect with people who think like us, who have a spirit like us, who want to do something positive. How do I find out who those people are? Because no matter who is against what's right, there's a lot of people who want something better. And good, it was said to me, and it changed my thinking forever. Good is so powerful. It's so much more powerful than bad that all it takes is a few people on the side of truth. That's why that's how change happens. You know, good is so powerful that you don't need the majority.
Mm.
You don't need the majority. You just need a few people who are really, really going to be about it. And they can do anything.
Somebody said
that's what I'm hanging my hat on that, regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
Because I believe that there's enough people that God has put in my life that I know who my allies are. I know who my team is. I know who my circle is. I know what I think is true, and I'm my willingness to live and stand on it. And I believe with that, not that it doesn't matter because it does affect other people, but ultimately, my agenda stays the same. And I'm optimistic.
Wow. What you got, Larry?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much said it all, right? I think I'm gonna make that a quote. Good is
Yeah.
you have to send that to me. We want to make that some shirts or something. I'm just joking. But yeah, exactly. You know, just again, of course, Biden. I mean, it's the obvious truth. Because you can go by Trump's antics. First of all, it's the quietest he's been in the whole 4 years, right? I've heard nothing. So it's almost like a silent defeat. Number two, of course, Joe Biden, just from watching this religiously for the past, couple hours. But yeah, definitely. And how it changes nothing, you know, and I'm just being very bluntly honest. I don't think anything. And again, as we've all said, Malcolm just so eloquently just said, it has really embodied a whole movement, right, of just some of the craziest rhetoric and actions I've seen ever, you know. So we still have to deal with that. It's not like Biden becomes president and those people just disappear, or even the ones who voted in this either way. And again, this isn't like it's some large margin. This is very close. That I'm seeing it 60-something million people believe in this person's particular rhetoric, politics, and whatever that may be. So that's still very dangerous.
Absolutely. So you guys, Malcolm touched on it. Let's get into it a little bit deeper. So I want to talk about, you know, what are our next steps as a family? We can brainstorm right here. Like, what we gonna do as a family first? What is our next steps? And maybe we can be a role model for the rest of the world. I have some seeds planted. We have a quorum right here. I feel like we need that. We've been talking about it. We need to have our own school. We got to start educating people because obviously the school system isn't educating us enough on politics, educating us enough on, you know, being great members of society, specifically in the Black community, educating us enough on, you know, history so we don't repeat it, and so on and so forth. So as a family, politically, financially, and period, what's our next steps? Throw some stuff out there. Let's work this out right now.
I'll mimic you. I think that one of the best statements of the evening is understanding what your expertise is. Yeah. Like I always had a statement. It's so funny. Me and Margo, we, you know, for those that don't know, we're raised together, think alike, look alike, almost everything, right? Okay. So it's expertise. And you build a power team, right? And this is what I explained to the kids in the program. So if I was going to build a wall, I need some masonry people, I need some bricklayers, somebody who understands cement. I don't need a guy who sells cars. right? He's not for his plans. You want to build your power team, right? And not just, those different elements, but just what type of person are you? As Malcolm said, right? What type of person are you? How good outweighs. So if I'm not negative, I don't want negative people around me. An issue I had, I embodied everyone. Everyone was my friend. They loved me and this, that, and third, but we don't have the same interests, right? I want to do this, so you shouldn't do that to endanger all of us, right? So it's about how do you build a power team? So regardless of which way it goes as a family, those roots have been laid. For those who are listening, Margo, every evening since the pandemic, we created a hit club who has directed that energy, directed that process, stepped up, whatever ups and downs you want to call of it, was the captain of that ship. And these are the things you have to have, right? Like, and it's funny how you said that. And one of the processes we were supposed to be doing, which we still do, forgive me, is what is your expertise? How do we support you? So just from them two things, what I learned with one was how Black business works and how wealth works, right? Because if all our energy is directed towards Margo at the particular time, then her wealth builds. Then she can support me, which I do with Kalila, which we all do to each other, right? Number one. Also, as far as family wealth, which is the most important part to me, because you have all these Mellons and Rockefellers. What was that? The people that were determined that generationally we are going to change how everything looks. It's not really financially, but leave what, of course, Margo, one of your favorite topics, legacy.
That's
See,
right.
once you leave that legacy, it's like, how do I control somebody's critical thinking almost, right? So it's not necessarily leading you to the winding road, or you have to go this way or that way. You left a blueprint of which way to go. So it eliminates, like I told my son, so many different problems you could have because, all right, I did that, that didn't work, right? What's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result.
Thank you. Verbatim. Webster's dictionary verbatim, right? So these are the things we need to do is what is our blueprint? How do we eliminate obstacles for the people who look like us, who are related to us with the same bloodline to create greatness? Why would you shoot for anything else but that? It doesn't make sense to me. So as far as that, just moving forward and whatever the outcome may be, notice that these people, like I told you guys before, I would go to war with any of y'all 8 days a week, right? So once you have that power and that common goal, which is necessary, of course, nothing can stop you.
Jump in, somebody.
I don't know where Malcolm went.
He's back.
Oh, there he is. Go ahead, Malcolm.
I'll say that,
He's freezing
I
up
think
on
that
me.
some of the things that we need to do are things we were already doing. Larry has spent a good portion of the last decade and a half or so of his life in business, real estate, acquisition of property and other things. He's a leader in the community that he lived in and grew up in. We have all, three of us have been in education for the last, collectively, I think we have
I got 28 years in.
probably 40 years or more in education, ranging from grades K or 1 through high school and beyond. And I think we've acquired a lot of experience working with all types of different people. And I think now there's, I know for me, the sense that, and this happened with the quarantine for me, because, my income went to 0 on March 13th. And a lot of people don't know that, when the schools closed, my contract stopped. And I mean, literally, there was nothing. And so what it showed me is that I'm able to survive. I was self-employed since 2007, but it showed me that I'm able to be viable through my own resources and through in the relationships that I've developed and other things, and I really feel more ready now to independently undertake some things that might be considered unconventional. Like, really, is it possible to wield $1 million? I truly believe that now. Before, that was like something I might say, but I didn't really think that was true necessarily. I really didn't.
You're about to
I
do
thought
it,
that was
brother.
a certain type of person who did that, and I wasn't that type of person. I would have never said that out loud, but I'm telling you the truth. That's just me. And I may stand alone on this Zoom, but I
We
really
missed it.
thought, but I really see myself and us having that now. I really see us being able to get things and do things at a level where we're controlling the type of world and the things in the world that, to me, was in somebody else's hands at one point. I saw that as somebody else's domain.
Mm.
I don't think that way now. And I feel like the conversations that we've been having, the energy that's been building, the spirit that we've cultivated shows me that we can have power and really decide, you know, what type of impact and legacy we want to leave in this world.
Mm.
Not just to have a good career or have a good family. That's stuff that we're already doing, right? But to really scale that now and be able to reach back 3-4 generations and reach out to people who we may not ever meet, and really do some things on a level that I didn't even know was really necessarily possible 5 years ago. That's the way I feel. I feel like all of this shows me that thinking about being creators and controllers of the world, not just people who live here and go to work every day and complain about what's going on and feel fearful about the election or whatever. I don't feel fearful about anything. No matter what happens, I feel like we got a response for it.
Mm.
So when you're active and when you're planning and you're visionary and you're connected to people who have that same spirit, there's no fear. It goes away. You don't have anxiety and apprehension because you feel like there's already momentum that we have. You see? And it just so happened that the train was already rolling.
I love it. I'm getting teared up and fired up at the same time.
Yeah. I want to read y'all this one thing real quick because I think it's said better, and it may not be something that I sent it to you all earlier, but it's my philosophy. Carter G. Woodson, who's the creator of Black Negro History Week and Black History Month, said, "History shows that it does not matter who is in power. That those who have not learned to do for themselves and have to depend solely on others never obtain any more rights or privileges in the end than they had in the beginning."
Stop.
So I'm gonna leave that right there.
Read it again, Malcolm. Read it again.
It says, "History shows that it does not matter who is in power. Those who have not learned to do for themselves and have to depend solely on others never obtain any more rights or privileges in the end than they had in the beginning."
Woo, that's fire, dude. That's fire.
So that's all I have to say about that.
That's fire.
And I'm sorry for being long-winded on that.
No, that's
I just feel strongly about that.
That's amazing. That's fire. Kalila, you want to add anything? Jump in there.
Say in the words of the late great Nipsey Hussle, hustle and motivate.
All right, let's go, Nipsey.
Motivate, let's go.
Amen.
Yeah, there it is.
Wow, that's
short and
really
sweet
good.
to the point. There it is.
That's really good. Okay, we only have a couple minutes left. So in these last couple minutes, I'm gonna give you a couple questions, and you can answer any of them, like your closing statements. You can talk about, what we as a community need to do in terms of mental health after this election. You can talk about next steps as individuals in our communities after this election. And you can talk about anything else that you want to talk about, just in your closing remarks around the aftermath of this election and going forward. So whoever wants to jump up first, closing remarks.
I must go first so you all can have the last word. I just want to say that it's a privilege to be working with you all. I want to just say in particular, and I just want to give a shout out to Kalila, to my sister. I've really been watching you over the past 6 months, the last 12 months, and you're just taking stuff by storm. You're always showing up for family members. Margo, I've already told you what I think about you, but I'm just taking a minute to say something publicly that I haven't even said privately to her. She's asserting leadership in every aspect of our family on both sides.
Mhm.
She's doing things to deal with challenges at work, and she weathers every single storm and rises above it every single time.
You have us
In
crying
this
on
midst
here.
of anything that goes on with my nephews and nieces, she manages all of that and shows up for family. And I feel like when you have that kind of, it was the one person, I mean, I don't want to say who it wasn't, because I feel like I have a great family overall.
Right.
But when I thought about people growing up who I knew was there with me to run through a wall, I always thought about my mom and my sister. And when you have people like my cousins now, and you have other people like that in your corner, I feel very excited about where we're standing right now and what we're poised to do. So I wanted to give a shout out to my sister, because I think that that's a big thing.
That was
And I
good.
think that having people that you really can place your trust in their competency and their character, who love you and are there for you, it really, it gives you a sense of confidence to do anything.
I want to echo that.
I'm gonna do like Lila's last one. 2 words: stay focused.
I love it. Kalila, you got the last words. What you want to say? You getting all this love on here.
I really like that quote that he said about, no matter who's in power, God is in charge. That's first and foremost too. And we just gotta keep pushing forward. I know my son was having a conversation with me saying to me, what did any of these presidents ever do for you? And I said, well, Amir, that's not how life works. Life works like, what did they do for people as a whole? And if a president did something to hurt someone else or marginalize another group of people, even if I'm not in that category, it's not good. It's unacceptable. So I just think we need to, like Larry says, stay focused, trust God, and keep pushing forward.
And absolutely, I'll just say this, just to piggyback on what you said. What hurts one hurts us all.
Yeah.
We are really inextricably connected. So I agree with everything that was said on this podcast, because this is my family, y'all. Great minds think alike. I want to thank you guys for coming on the podcast. It's been a total joy and a pleasure, and I'm proud to say that I'm a member of this family, headed up by our grandmother, Gnarly R. Hinton. Shout out to her in heaven. So thank you to my cousin Malcolm, St. Lawrence, and Kalila. This has been the Give It Up podcast on urbanmediatoday.com. Thank you, Trevin, Kiki, and Mr. Alan Lincoln. Everybody give it up and be
Urban Media Today is your source for entertainment, news, sports, and lifestyle. It's your online resource for health and fitness, providing tips to decrease your heart disease or increase your good spirits. When you can't find who made the top picks in HBCU sports or what part of the country is most exciting or affordable to travel with the entire family, Urban Media Today is there to provide you with all that you need and just a click away. Log on to urbanmediatoday.com now. Find us on social media. Urban Media Today, your lifestyle information and blog website.